Hi, this is the video about the next part of our web lectures about web programming, and today we are going to move to next topic, which is JavaScript and how we work with this. So what we need, we'll learn what is JavaScript and how to work with it in today's lecture. And we'll continue this for 3-4 weeks. Okay, let's go further. So how do web pages work again? We go back. So this is the lectures from that Stanford course. And so you are on laptop. Your laptop is running on a web browser or home. So you go to web page. You open it. You open web page, browser sends request to server. After that, server sends you some data, HTML, and after that you open this HTML will include these things like image source, link source, etc. This is style, the images, and etc. And you will receive all of these documents. Finally, when all resources are loaded, we see the loaded page, so you see the result. Well, so what's next? So HTML plus CSS produces a web page. Web page that doesn't do anything. What does it mean? Because it doesn't do anything actually. Of course, you can apply some CSS animations or etc., which we didn't learn. But you can do, but in general it doesn't do anything. It only shows you. But sometimes you want to do something on this page. So what we have learned so far, look the way we want them to we can make web pages so that they look like we want them to, and can link to other pages. So when you press the link, it goes to that page. Display differently on different screen sizes, etc. But we don't know how to build web pages that do anything, like get user input, like you enter some data and it must show it, how to save, how to show and hide elements, how to interact with page, etc., etc., etc. So we start with JavaScript. JavaScript is a programming language. So HTML, if you know, is not programming language, it's markup language. Markup language means it shows the browser how to place the elements on the screen. So, but JavaScript, it's language describing, not programming. So JavaScript is programming language. It's currently the only programming language that your browser can execute natively. So your browser can only show JavaScript, can only use JavaScript. There are other different languages like Dart, etc. But they are not common. They are not used widely. Therefore, if you want to make your web page do stuff, you must use JavaScript. There are no other options. So this also understandable. Okay, so the history of JavaScript, it was created in 1995 by Brendan Eich, who is co-founder of Mozilla. JavaScript had nothing to do with Java, so there are some same constructions like in Java, but actually it's totally different languages. Little named that way for marketing reasons. The first version was written in 10 days, so as you can expect, it contains many items, many things JavaScript is very simple language because nothing complex can be created in 10 days. So the first version was something like this. Several fundamental language decisions were made because of company politics and not technical reasons. So in the beginning, JavaScript was language it was a tool for to doing some very simplest thing, like show some message, read some data, and that's all. So because of this, JavaScript can be a problem. JavaScript is messy and full of drama and our only option. So JavaScript, many people hate JavaScript because of this type of structure. It has many different logical things. So because of this, it is very messy. Like okay, so let me show you how to create this JavaScript. I open the page. I create some element like HTML. Okay, so I write here HTML. So actually JavaScript is set into this interval between script and script. So what we can write here, and it says that we can actually write it. Okay, let's make it easy in tutorial. Script.js. And here let's write JavaScript code. Console log hello.js. Так, lessons. Okay, sorry. So, okay, we have this file. This says hello from HTML. This is HTML code. And we have script.js, and it says only console log hello.js. Okay, let me open it. Open HTML. So we see only hello from HTML, which is written in HTML code. So if I want to see what is in console, I open inspect, and here I see the tab console. I press it and it says hello.js. So it's working. It's like something that you learned from Java. You write system out println, so it's same thing like console, but it's not shown on the page directly, but it's shown on some console. And this can be like for debugging or something like this. Okay, so this is the how. Okay, so this is the. This is, for example, you get to link rel style sheet and load the style sheet. After that, our browser see this line script source.js, and we do what we do else. It goes to server again, gets script.js, and in our case it takes it from same computer, and then now at this point the JavaScript file will execute client side or in the browser on the user's computer. So at this time it starts executing it. There is no main method. The script file executes from top to bottom. So as far as your browser sees script line, it starts immediately executing it. There is no compilation by the developers, so it's not compiled. It means that it will be run on your browser. Like there is no compilation, there is no like something like this, but starts running on your browser when it so in fact in the process when you open browser it starts interpreting the code. So sometimes JavaScript will be very slow because it is interpreted on the fly. And first, okay, so this is like our code, the same. Here you write console log hello world and it writes in console. Nothing happened, so it explains. Okay, and let's play with these things. Actually, you can play here. You can write all of these things like here. We need functions, variables. Okay, let me show an example. So, for example, I write console log hello, and here it starts with function. Function say, let's say hello. I save it again. I go to okay, say hello JS function. So it says hello JS function because we call it the function say hello. The difference between Java, for example, here you don't read return types like int, double, etc. You write only function. There is no void and other things. You only write say hello, and here you can add arguments. But now we don't have arguments, so because of this we use. So in this case, say hello, it will do something like this. Okay, I didn't save this one. Hello JS function, hello JS function. Okay. Let me do this one. Sorry. Okay. I showed you functions. Okay, so this is the some question. Does this code work? And we see that it, if you try to do it in script, I save it. Now I refresh it. So it works actually because so it says is yes work for this particular syntax. So actually this should not work in Java or in Python, for example, because the function definition is written below of JavaScript, or below calling the function, but it's like it preparing for this, so it searches for function and prepare them, so you can actually write like this. So, for example, this code would not work in Python or something else because it doesn't call functions which are not defined yet. So this is how we use variables. Let me show it. It says that function scope variable, we can use x, var, let, or constant, and this means that constant is like constant, var, let, they almost same, but difference that is that this is works inside of function and this one works inside of scope. So it's better to use let. In most old video lectures or something tutorials, let is there is no let. Mostly there is var because let was defined in last 5 years. So because of this, let is not widespread in many tutorials, but you should use let because it's more like predictable. It works like in uh, most other cases. So this is the how you use function arguments. You write like this: message, comma times, understanding var. Okay, so this is, let me show the difference between var and let. So this is the example of using var. What happens if you try to print I at the end of the loop? You can actually try this code. So the actual difference that is that in this case I is can be accessed outside of for. So if you remember the Java, in Java it was something like this: var I, var. So this is the variable, and if you define it inside of for, it cannot be accessed outside of for. So you cannot use it outside of for. But in JavaScript, var can be used outside of for, but cannot be used outside of function. So this means that inside of this one, you can use I. Whereas, so it says value of I is 3. Okay, and so this is the example. Also var x10, var x more than 10, 0, and var y equal to 10. Also, if you remember Java, you could not do this something like this in Java because y is defined inside of if, inside of these curly braces, so you cannot use this. But in JavaScript you can, because var is works inside the function. But you can, in this case also, you can also try this one. It cannot be used outside of function. And understanding let. So let works same as Java's variables. So in this case, we will see what we have same as before function, but instead of var, now we have let. What does it mean? It means that this I cannot be accessed. It will not work outside of. It will not work outside of this function. It works only, or it will not work outside of this for. It will work only inside of this function. And const is almost, I think it's almost same in all languages. It means that let x equal to 10, x, so you has block scope. So okay, it works same, but it has one more usage, is that it is cannot be changed. It cannot be reassigned. So like in this case, const y equal to 10, you cannot set to 0, you cannot change the value, but in list you can change the things. So sometimes you cannot apply, you can apply, but it will not work as you can apply const to some list or array, but it will not be same values. You can change the values, but it will stay same. Use const whenever possible. If you need a variable to be reassignable, use let. Do not use var. So do not use, try to use let or const because they are more working. And it is so this is the types of variables, boolean, true, false. I will show it later on the lecture part, I think. So arrays, there are arrays also. I will show a few more HTML elements. This is the HTML elements. Like let us show. I will write it here. So let's say we can use something like this button. So we have this button, you can press it, you can change it differently. And we have these things like input type text. And also text array. So input type text is this is one. So you write here, for example, your name, and here it is like for example, it's multi-line. If you want to write many columns, like hello world, I'm here. So this is the like elements. Actually, there are many different other elements. How to use them we can also see. I will show it later. Now this part is about DOM element. DOM element is like structure of our page. Every element on a page is accessible in JavaScript, the DOM. So we have these buttons. For example, I have this button. What I want to do, I want to, for example, to press this button and take data from this field and to make some interaction with this. So to do this, I need to access elements in JavaScript. So it means that I want, I must know from JavaScript where is the element, how to get elements. For example, how to get this text which I written down, or how to know when this button is pressed. So to do this, we need DOM, document object model. Document object model is some object in which you store that all pages elements, any elements like divs, like buttons, and etc. They are stored inside of this document object model. So you see that it's stored in form of tree. So it's like HTML. Inside of HTML you have body. Inside of body you have h1 div. So it's like some object. We can to use JavaScript properly, to use not only for using this console, etc. We need to use DOM. So actually there is no some like JavaScript programming without DOM programming. And let's see what it writes. The DOM is a tree of node objects corresponding to the JS code can examine this node to see the state of an element. So you can see how elements are, what they do was, for example, what is written inside of this element and etc. Can edit attributes, so you can change it by JavaScript. Can add elements and remove elements from web page by adding remove nodes. So you can add, you can delete, you can do anything with JavaScript. For example, you can remove all elements from page by using one JavaScript code. How we can access? Okay. So it says that we can access HTML's corresponding DOM node in JavaScript via the query selector, document query selector, or via query selector all. Okay, I will show it later. So let me show some example. So we have this one, button press me, input type text. Let's write the code here. I will write document, query selector. So I will give an ID. For example, let's say name. Okay, cool. So we have this, let's remove this one. This one. So, for example, I'm writing, I want to, our code write something here. What can I, so I wrote it here, input type text ID name. So I can take it like this, name. So do you remember this dash symbol? Dash symbol, it's denotes in CSS the ID. So it's same as in CSS. This means that find all elements with ID name. And we say like this, let input. Input is our variable. Input, and there is some element which is called value. And here I write it like this, hello world. Okay, so let's see what does it work. Does it work or not? I press this one. Okay, it doesn't show anything. It doesn't show hello world, but shows an error. Cannot set property value of null. What does it mean? It means that so in line 2, input value. So it cannot set value of null. So it says input is null. Why input is null? Because actually our code executes at this place, but our page browser didn't even create this input type text. Because of this it works with error, so it cannot find input type text because it wasn't even created. So if I do something like this, put it after this one and press this one, it immediately writes hello world. So again, this is the code. So you see this one. If you put it big after input, so it will work. Let's see what does it say about this one. So it explains about defer. It says that you can add the defer attribute onto the script tag so that JavaScript doesn't execute until after the DOM is loaded. Okay, so when I write defer, it starts working properly. It works something like this. As I said before, if you do not write defer, it will execute this code. It will not be able to execute this code because there is no element with ID name. So there are two solutions, as you see. You can put this one after that, or you can write defer. Defer means that it will wait till all elements will be loaded except images or something like this, because images can take more time, but all elements on the page until they load, this will be called defer. Let me close. Um, you can defer attribute onto the script tag so the JavaScript doesn't execute until the DOM is loaded. Other old school ways of doing this don't do this, so you do not need to do this because the modern browsers support this one. So you also, if you search for all tutorials, you will see that they will say put all the script tags at the bottom of page. There are many modern pages which do same. We can try, for example, pvc.com or Tengri News. I will open the page, for example. Okay, so you will see something like this. So you will see in the end of the body many script tags. So JavaScript is put into the bottom of the body, and because they want them to be executed after all things are loaded. Or I think same for JavaScript or Tengri News. Tengri News, as you see, also same. JavaScript starts from the bottom. There are many different JavaScript codes, so they start from the bottom. So this is defer. Click me. And let me show this one. So for example, now we have this hello world. And for example, I want to show it like this button. So now we have button, and I want to, for example, I want to press the button and to make some action. For example, at least to show console log hello world, etc. So what they can do, I can do it in different ways. So one of them is like, mostly I think it will be easier for you. I click here on click, and right here function click, and right here console log. Salam alaikum. Okay, now we have this button. It has on click. So when you click it, it will call the function click, and here we write click. So what will it do? Let me understand. A button, click me. Okay. Okay, click one. So as I suspect, okay. So there is some predefined function which is called click. So because of this, I write click one. So it should be named differently, not click. So when you press this one, it outputs in console some value. Also, there is one more way. You can do this one without. So this when you read it like this, it becomes very messy. You can it will be difficult to change something. It will be difficult to understand which what happens in the page. So we do something like this. We remove this one and write here. Here I write let button document query selector. The item was, it had ID button, so I write button and then I write something like this: add event listener function. So this is, what is this? It is like anonymous function in Java. You write button add event listener function, and this function will be called when you press the button. So actually, okay, we can do it like this. We can say click. Okay, it's not click, click one. Okay, let's see what does it say about it. Okay. So this is actually not click listener, it is event listener. So we should specify on which actions it will do like this. So I press click, click me, and it says salam alaikum. And let's do very simplest thing. It is about this one. I create two input types. One of them is, for example, S1, and second is S2. And I want to do something like this type. So we have three fields. This is one value, second, and we click, and I want to do this like calculator. I enter this value, this, and it will work as calculator. Now what I should do, I will take right here. So when I press the button, I want to take the value, the input one, and I should also take third one, input 3. And what I need to do, so I must add these values. So I take like it will be like this. I take input, let's say sum, let sum equals to input. So we cannot plus these values because actually input 1 is not the value inside, but it is the object of input. So actually to take the value, you write value, and we will sum it, input to value. And we must take input 3 value equal to sum. Let's see what does it make. So for example, I write here, I refresh first of all, 45, click me 45. Why 45? Because actually these variables, they do not know that this is the numbers. It knows that it is some text. So because of this, it tries to add them as a text. Why? Because text values, when you add them, they want to concatenate them. To change them to integer, you can write something like this, parse int. And let's again 4, 5, click me 9. So same for other operations, we can use this one